Good morning to all. Welcome to GC Tech Hub CS tutorials. Students, in today's class we are going to discuss about flow of execution in a function call. We all have seen how functions are created, how they are executed. So now we will be seeing the flow of execution in a function call. Flow of execution is the order in which statements are executed when a program is executed. Okay. So there are certain things which we need to pay attention to, like what is a program block. A block is a small piece of Python code which is which exists as one single unit within the program. We have You will be seeing there are various types of program blocks in a Python code. Like if I write a program here, and if I write if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, print A is the greatest number. So you can see that I have written a program, and here this is a program block. If I use a while loop somewhere and a group of statements within that, it forms a program block. If I use a for loop somewhere, it forms a program block. So likewise, a program can contain several such units, such single complete units of code which are known as program blocks. So a function body is also a block. In Python, a block is executed in an execution frame. What is an execution frame? It normally contains certain things like some internal information used for correcting a program, name of the function, values passed to the function, variables created within the function, information about the next instruction to be executed. So the execution frame contains all such information. So I have a program here. As you can see, it is a program which uses a function named product to calculate to return the product of three passed values, three passed numbers, right? So here main is the global area, and this is a program block. Product is a program block which actually consists of some statements. It can contain multiple statements also, and right now it contains only a single statement, so that is not very important here. But this program block contains its own set of things, like it contains the name of the function, then the arguments, the parameters, which are special type of variables which accept values from other parts of the program. It contains a return statement. It can also contain internal variables which it saves. Like for example, if I had written it like this, so in this case, P is an internal variable which is created within the vicinity of this function, and it contains a return statement. So all these things are there. So an execution frame of this function product which will contain all these necessary things. So the program control, it switches between the execution frames. Like you can see in the small diagram over here, and here we have the return statement. Right now what happens is, first of all, and this is the main area, so your execution starts from here. Actually the execution starts from this point. In the beginning, your interpreter is only going to read the header of the function, just to make sure that everything is proper within the header, and then it will quickly move to the main area, and within this it will start executing the statements one by one, and the moment it finds a function call, there will be a jump to this function. The function, now the control moves to the first instruction within the function. It is executed, and then if there is a return statement, then the program control is returned back to the statement immediately following the function call. So function call will send the control flow to the function definition, and last statement of the function definition will send the control back to where the function was called. So this is the flow of execution when there is a function involved. The moment there is any function call, the program control will jump to the function, execute the function, and then return the control back to where it was called from. Now let us understand the entire flow of execution process with the help of this small program. So in the beginning, first of all, this statement, the first statement which you can see over here, is executed. So first of all, the program control, it will be starting from this point, and it will only read the program, only read the function header, not execute the statements within it. The statements within the function are only executed when the function is called. So once it has read this function header and made sure that everything is fine, it will come to the very first step within the main. That is A equals, that is accepting variables. So within the global area, we will be having one by one 3 variables created. So first, when one variable is created over here, so you can see it over here that when 3 variables are created one by one within the global area. So 6, 7 and 8. So 3 variables are created. Now when the statement is executed here, there is a function call to product. So what will happen? The program control will go to this function call over here, and now this function is actually a separate program block within the same program. So it will create a separate local area within the program, and that local area would be created somewhere inside like this, because it is a subset of the same global area. That is why it will be created within the global area itself. So this represents the local area, and now this local area contains A, B, C as 3 parameters. So these 3, because they are parameters, are also variables, so they will also contain the values. So we'll be having them inside. So 3 of them are created inside the global area, inside the local area. So we will have 3 boxes over here. And now to this, we are going to, now their names are also, their names also start with A, B and C. So we will be giving them the names A, B and C, and they would be also connected, and they will also have 3 values. So 6, 7 and 8. 3 values are taken up by them. So now over here, because the values were passed, so what happens is these from the global area, the values are passed to your function and they get stored over here like this. So values are passed from the global area and they reach this local area, and now there is an internal variable within the product function known as P. So that variable is created within this function. Its name is P. So this is a local variable within the function area, and hence it is not visible in the global area. So this P variable will contain the product of the 3 values. So let us write the product of the three values. So the product of the three values is saved in P, and now there is a return statement over here, that is return P. So now this statement prod equals product, it will be replaced by this statement. Prod equals the value, that is 336. This value 336 is returned by this function. So it is returned back to the same location over here, and the RHS, the right hand side, the R value is replaced by this value. So this value has to be accepted by some variable within the main. So we create another area over here within main, and this area can be named as, say, prod, the variable which is accepting the value which is returned from the function, and this function returns this value P to prod, and prod contains this value, that is 336. So this is how the values are passed between the two areas, right? So this is the flow of execution which we see. First, now you saw, okay, once this has been written, once the last statement of the function has been executed, this entire area, the local area which is there, this entire local area loses its importance. So I'm deleting each and everything over here just to show that this entire local area has been completely wiped out from the memory. So now it appears as if it never existed. So that is because once its work is done, once its execution is over, its existence, once its work is done, it ceases to exist. It doesn't exist anymore. So here now what we have is the global area. So you can see that whenever a function is created, uh, whenever a function is called, its execution frame will be created only when it is called. It will be called, its work will be done, all its statements will be executed, and then finally once the program control returns back to the calling function, its existence will be removed from the memory. So this is the flow of execution of a program. So there are certain steps over here. Now what all things can be passed to a function? Now students, there is also one more thing which is there, that in case of a nested program, what will happen? So let us try to create a program which contains a nested function. So in the same program, I'm going to create another one. Let us try to write two functions in the program. I'm going to create a program which will now calculate the average of three numbers. So let us just rename these as average. And this average function, it calls another function named sum, which stores the sum of three values. And here we are just going to display. So now you can see that this is a program which contains two functions. Let us see how this is executed. So I'm going to take up a new page over here, and this is my program. So we will be taking the program like this. So now students, how it will work? So first of all, the main area will be created. So we'll be having the main area over here. This is the global area, and I have kept it quite bigger because it will contain two different regions. So this is the global area. Then first of all, A, B and C are created over here. So I'll place three boxes which represent A, B and C respectively. A, B and C. And let me keep it this side. And these are three values which are entered by the user. So we can simply just give values to it. So I gave three values here, that is 2, 3 and 4. So three values are given. So these three are created within the main area. Then we have a function called to average. So another area will be created within the same area. So we will be having another area over here. This area represents the function average. So I'll be writing average function over here. So it represents the average function area in the memory. And after that, within average also, there are three parameters A, B and C. So I am going to place three different parameters over here, three different boxes to represent three different parameters over here. So 2, 3 and 4 are created, and they are actually pointed by A. So it's somewhat like this. So we have A, B and C, three variables. These are actually three parameters to which three arguments were passed. So the three arguments were passed from the main area to these. And now they are also local variables within the function area. Now after this, there is another function call, that is sum. So another area will be created within this average function. So you can see how this new area is created within the average function, and it stands for sum, the function sum, and it also accepts the three values. So I'm just going to copy the values over here. So you can see that they are also accepted by the function, and they were also passed from this average function to the sum function. Now this function calculates the sum of the three values and returns it. So I will represent it by another box over here, which actually is a temporary memory area which consists of the sum of these three values. So I will represent them by A plus B plus C. So this is the value over here, A plus B plus C, and we have the sum of the three values, that is 9, which is saved over here. Now this value has to be returned back to this statement over here, that is average equals sum ABC. So another box is created within the average function. You can see I have created it over here, and its name is AVG, which is a local variable within average function. And now this value will be passed to this function. to this area. So this area now contains the average of the sum of the three values. So it contains the sum of the three values, which is 9. Because this is the variable which will be used later to calculate to return the average of the three values. So it is returned over here. Now the next statement is return AVG divided by 3. So another temporary memory area will be created over here, which will contain, remember this is within the average function itself, this will actually contain AVG divided by 3. This is AVG divided by 3, and that value would be what? 3, because 3 times will give you 9, and this will be received by another variable AV within the main area. So within the main area we have this variable created whose name is AV, and it will also contain this value 3. So this value 3 is now passed to this area. Now you will see that once this value 9 is returned to average, this whole area will lose its importance. So I am deleting all these values just to show that its existence is removed. Now you can see that its existence is completely removed, and once this 3 is returned to main, the existence of this average function is also removed. So now you can see that at the end we are left with the result, that is AV, which is printed over here in the last statement. So this is the flow of execution in a function call, during a function call in a program.